Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Brooke.
I'm Diana.
And this is episode 106. Today, we're going to be talking about The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 19, One More, along with our recommendations on Generation, Boss Level, and I May Destroy You. But before we dive in, how are you, Diana?
I'm great, Brooke.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm quite...
Everything is awesome.
I'm having a great day, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Oh, yes. I'm glad you're having a good day, and I'm having a pretty good day myself. So thank you. And you know what? It is like the perfect weather outside. So this spring season is really, really enjoyable right now.
Totally kicking in. It's kind of crazy how the weather changes so dramatically for us, because it was rainy and cold, and now it's just so pretty and sunny, and we're going to have some great days. And we bought some tomatoes so we can start planting those. So,
oh, how cool.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds fun. Getting in the garden and enjoying the outdoors.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love the outdoors. And actually, my family, we go hiking often. And so, you know how it is with kids. It's like, okay, kids, there's only one more mile to go. Come on, you can do it. I'm tired. We know what that's like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of a hiker are you, Diana? I want to know. Do you rest when you get tired, or can you keep pushing until the end?
If it's flat, I'm really good at keeping it going. But I don't hike a lot in upward incline too much. But when I do, I do have to rest a little bit, but at the same time, I hate stopping. So I do push myself as much as I can, but sometimes I do need a slight rest. So, yeah.
Good. And then you know what? On those rests, you can just enjoy the nature, look at the scenery, kind of look at your map and see how far you've gone. I know for us, there was one hike in particular where on the map, it didn't look as extreme as it actually was. And we had all the, three of our kids on the hike and walking with the toddler. You know, if he gets tired, you have to carry him. But we're the type of parents where we're like, yeah, we'll give you your little water, but we're going to stretch it and we're going to keep going. So we encourage the kids to keep pushing through.
Yeah.
And it's hard because on that hike particularly, I wanted to sit down so bad, but I knew it was going to take so much longer if we kept stopping.
Right.
And I just wanted to get back. So.
Yes, I've seen some of, you've captured some really pretty pictures of where you've been and where you go. And so I love seeing them. They're great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can enjoy that.
I like the one where you said you're visiting Scotland. And I'm like, oh, it was so pretty. It was such a pretty picture.
It's so cool. That one was just last weekend, I believe, but it was so hysterical because you're talking about incline. And this one was pretty much incline either way or decline either way. And so you had to choose like where you're going to start off with and where you're going to come down. And that was the most like it was scary for the little ones going down.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so amazing. And same thing. I'm like, come on, Gemma, let's go. And I said, if you fall, then I fall. And if I fall, you fall, because we're holding on to each other.
Oh, yeah.
So you just got to keep encouraging them to keep on going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, out there, listeners, let us know what you think. What kind of a hiker are you? Do you rest when you get tired, or can you keep pushing through to the end? We'd love for you to let us know. You can leave us a comment on Twitter at @in_screens. You can follow us on our Screens in Focus Facebook page. Instagram and subscribe to our website. Also, we'd love it if you could rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. This is super helpful. The links are in our show notes. I also want to give a quick shout out to all our listeners in all the countries that have been tuning in. We really appreciate you very much. So I just wanted to say, hi out there. We see you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brooke, I want to know. We watched The Walking Dead episode 19, one more. What are your overall thoughts on this episode?
Wow. I mean, this episode was just incredible. I was moved by it. And it was so good to see Gabriel and Aaron. They've been hiking for miles, and Gabriel's determined to find the resources. So they looked a lot like scavengers, and once things were falling into their favor, it takes a turn for the worst. I was at the edge of my seat. I loved all the dialogue, and I loved learning about who they are and who they once were. And it was just so very good to see them in this season.
I agree. This rate's really high for me up there. It reminded me of earlier Walking Dead, and I so enjoyed it. And I too was on the edge of my seat. It really shook me. It was a very dark, apocalyptic episode. It was well acted, directed, and written. I was completely blown away by the episode. And I jumped out of my seat and said, "What just happened?" And I remember I was holding my head, and it really, you know how they say it blows your mind, and I've said it before, but this really did blow my mind because I couldn't believe what happened. And I loved it. And we, Aaron and Father Gabriel brought another layer of what it's like to be a survivor in this world. And Maze, played by Robert Patrick, tested their character and humanity in this episode and revealed his own. So it was really good.
Yeah, it was so good to see a Terminator in this episode as well. Like he is definitely suitable for this show.
Yeah.
I am moving ahead, but I really wish that we could have seen more of him.
I do too. Oh my gosh, I agree with you so much. I was thinking, oh, is he going to be on the show? For that moment, I'm like, is he going to continue? This is going to be awesome. I thought he brought so much, out of the other characters and actors. I really think that the three of them together, it was very dynamic and just really well done. So
definitely,
yeah.
Definitely. I loved this episode, and I actually loved the humor in this episode too. And, when Aaron screamed for dear life,
yeah,
and we go running in to see if Aaron is okay. Like, we're all sitting there watching. We're like, what? Did he get bit? Or is there walkers? And then we find this wild boar that's like bleeding out. And just the reaction from Father Gabriel, or let's just say Gabriel at this time, was just cracking up at the fact that he screamed, and he's like, they're wild and dangerous.
I know.
And he's like, yeah, I can see that.
I know. Aaron was trying to defend his reaction. And Father Gabriel was just like, that scream.
Oh my gosh. And I just laughed. I just rolled with Gabriel. I mean, that was such an addition. And I'm so glad when these writers and directors can emphasize the humor in this world, this current world and the old world. I mean, when they were drinking and eating and gambling, it just felt like you're over on a Friday night at your buddy's house or, whatever poker night is.
Yeah.
So I was so thankful for that bond that they shared. What about you? What did you notice in this episode?
I really appreciated that they highlighted these two characters. I don't know that we've seen it like this in the past. And so I'm really glad that they gave them this episode to learn more about them. And Father Gabriel, of course, he blew my mind, but his character arc has been so dramatic since we first met him. Of course, how could you not be affected by this world? But to see such a drastic evolution, it was kind of cool. He, begins when we first meet him, he's this cowardly priest. And then later on down the line, he was really an untrustworthy sneak. Then slowly, he learned to become a vital part of his community and a leader. And more recently, we've seen his courage and bravery. But even so, I was so shocked and surprised by his actions. He pushed to find supplies and food following Maggie's map, even though Aaron was ready to turn back because he wanted to go home and see his daughter. And I think he felt, they weren't finding anything. But Father Gabriel was like, no, we need to check all the cars and keep going. Just one more. He was so determined. And so we haven't seen him like that before. So that was really good to see that aspect of him. And as they settle in for the night and eat and drink, Aaron wants Gabriel to preach again. But Gabriel says that the world and people are different, that evil people aren't the exception to the rule. They are the rule, which is put to the test when they meet Mays. He forces them to play Russian roulette because he wants to prove that people are bad, only looking out for themselves because of his brother's betrayal. And it was interesting because you see Father Gabriel one way in talking with Aaron, in saying all of that, but I feel like he kind of switched gears when he started, when he was put in that position of playing Russian roulette, and he preaches to Mays and tells them that there's still good in the world and that they can help him. And I was really convinced by what Father Gabriel was saying, but I didn't think that it would get through to Mays. But it seemed like it did. But I was still a little bit afraid because Mays was so jaded. But truly, Father Gabriel was so convincing. And then what happened next is what shocked me beyond belief. And to see Aaron's face reflected how I was feeling.
Oh my gosh. That was so intense of a scene. Oh, I was like sweating. I mean, I could never imagine playing that game, like whatever you want to call it. It's not a game. It's not fun. Games should be fun.
I know, that's true.
That was not fun. And I think they pulled the trigger 4 times. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's only 2 left. And, what are they going to do? It just was so scary. And then when Aaron was the last one to pull the trigger and Mays had him stop, they were screaming to the top of their lungs. I wonder what it feels like to be an actor, to be in that position as an actor and develop that character role and that feeling, that emotion. I've never done that before. Like I should, in my car, just go in my car and sit there and see if I could do it and what it looks like and how it feels to watch myself, about to pull that trigger. That's so intense of acting. I felt like Aaron's character, his actor, he did such an incredible job portraying this man who could potentially just be about to blow his head off. The only people that I could think of at the time, each time they had the gun to their head, were their babies.
Yeah.
So that really hit my heart to watch them play that game. The first time I'd ever seen anything like that was in the movie Malcolm X with Denzel Washington. And I was young when I saw that, and that game scares the living life out of me.
Yeah.
So,
oh man,
I know. But as we see Maze, becoming a Jedi and turning to the good side, and I was like, oh wow, maybe he will be a part of this show. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Gabriel just comes out of nowhere and bops Maze on the head with his spiky arm ball, and squish goes Maze.
I know. I was like, what? You just convinced him. You were so convincing. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm killing you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And he's like, and then blood just splattered all over Aaron's face after him, using all this energy and emotions, like he just was about to kill himself potentially. That feeling of adrenaline running through your body, and then splat goes a man in front of you.
Yes, and
you're
right.
Like, why did you do that? And he's like, he just admitted to killing his brother's family. Like, he can't come with that.
Yeah. I know. That's when I was, well, right before he said that, like right after it happened, you see Aaron's face. That's when I was holding my head and I was like, what? I mean, oh my gosh. I'm reliving the moment now. It's like crazy.
I know. And so special effects are so awesome this season. Oh my gosh, I'm just loving it all. And then we just see Maze laying there, dead.
Yeah.
And they get up and they start touring around. They're like, wait, he heard our conversations during interrogation. He knew about us.
Yeah.
And so them two figuring that out, realizing, made them pursue onto upstairs, which it was like this pungent smell, it appeared to be. They're holding their breath.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, who's he got upstairs? Or what's going on up there? He's been living up there, it looks like. And we see somebody in the corner, which I thought was like a walker, but it turned out to be his brother.
Yeah.
So, not only was his brother up there, but his brother's family.
I know.
His wife and child. So his Maze's niece and sister-in-law just laying there. So just finding those two bodies and Maze's brother, they wanted to help him, but he was so terrified from being captive that, yeah.
It was interesting that Father Gabriel was going to help him? Although we don't really know, but it looked like he was more inclined to help him. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy where his thought process is.
Yeah.
Where it goes.
This is how he justified it. He said, Maze got a messed up face, but Maze killed, his brother's family. Like, all Maze got was an attempt to be attacked, or he was trying to hurt him.
Yeah. And
then, but instead, the real crazy situation was Maze killed innocent lives.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry, you don't get a pass for that.
Right.
So, I guess maybe, honestly, I wouldn't want to go up there unless there was food that I'm trying to take home. I'm like, you know what? You guys are drama. I gotta go. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, in the beginning of this episode, what caught my eye was the juxtaposition of the images, the flowers and their beauty, and then the slaying of the walkers and the blood dripping off the petals.
I know.
Yeah. And you saw that throughout the episode. So many contrasting pictures and elements, beauty and ugliness, good and bad. This show really makes you think and wonder about humanity and what people are willing to do. And they showed that picture of the smiling Mays brothers before the apocalypse. And that was such a contrast to what they had become. At one time, they were family, brothers, just people. But circumstances and choices change who they once were. And that really struck me. And I just thought it was devastatingly sad.
Ooh, all these metaphors, visual metaphors. Amazing.
Yeah.
You got that. That's for sure. Yeah, it was beautiful. I noticed all that, the special effects and just how they were able to incorporate the flowers all intertwined with those burned bodies.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's very metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
I love that contrast. Very nice. Good thoughts, Diana.
Well, Brooke, what other thoughts do you have about the episode?
I just really enjoyed listening to Father Gabriel. Just simply, it seemed to be reinventing himself. I mean, he's gone through so much during this series that we've seen, and to go back in time with him, that was just a blessing to understand more about him and his reflections. And so I love that Aaron told him confidently, you could do it again, lead the church, be that Father Gabriel. But I also thought it was interesting how Father Gabriel can just go turn around and squish somebody's head with a spiky ball arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Wearing his collar, while he's wearing the collar. And I also really, really thought that mud scene was so perfect. I mean, to get all of that mud into a film, I mean, be able to trample through all of that, to get all the coverage that he got when he fell into it, and his open eye, all you could see are his eyeballs, because mud was just like, he was a mud monster.
Yes, it was good.
And it was just like, he stole the show. I mean, the Father Gabriel falls into mud, tears the map, and then it rains on them. So then they have to find shelter, which they found food, and just everything kind of fell into like, this is his purpose. This was his purpose from the beginning, from wearing that collar. These are things that happen that he's just accepted and is able to teach with his, the Bible. Speaking of the Bible.
I know.
Okay, Mr.
Mace.
What are you doing with all these Bibles? Yeah. Toilet paper.
Using them as toilet paper.
So even in an actual apocalypse, people are still freaking out about toilet paper. I love that they did that.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's funny.
What about you? What else did you notice?
God, I love that. And I'm so glad you brought up the mud scene, because I appreciated that part too. It was good. So when they were traveling before they got to the main location, the other place that was on Maggie's map was that burned down location. And what was interesting was that the Reapers had burned down that structure in...
Oh, we saw a fire. Yeah.
In the first episode with Maggie, the first episode of this segment. So we saw that they burned down the structure and people were in it. And so this happened again. So it's like, is this the Reapers doing? So I thought that was kind of interesting. And, and then the Dwayne Morgan whiskey. I don't know if you noticed the name, but Dwayne Morgan, that is Morgan's son. Morgan's son is Dwayne. So it was really interesting that was the name of the whiskey. That was very cool.
Oh.
And, they are going towards this water tower at the end. And it was interesting because Aaron was the one who wanted to turn back and go home. But at the end, Father Gabriel says, he's willing to turn back and go home. And Aaron's the one that says, no, let's push forward, because they see that. And I'm thinking, what's over there? And what about this big forest between where they're at and there? It just feels like so much can happen. So much more can happen to them. It was kind of scary and interesting at the same time. So, something Father Gabriel narrated at the very beginning, he said, darkness and vengeance, moments of despair, grace of our friends, we are saved to save our soul. I thought that was just an interesting way to open this whole segment. And I, too, loved seeing fun Aaron and fun Gabriel get drunk together. That was really cool.
That was pretty cute.
Yeah, I liked it.
That was really cute. I loved also, too, how they had that timer, the alarm clock thingy.
Oh.
And they threw it in the grass to wake up the walkers so that they, it's like walking through a like snakes in the grass. You could get bit. You don't know what's in there creeping around.
Right.
Thought that was neat.
That was a good use of that alarm clock.
Yeah.
Okay, Brooke, I want to know who your award goes to. I want to know, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
Oh my gosh. Well, for me, that Russian roulette scene was just so crazy intense. I mean, both of them, let's just say that entire scene deserves an award, with their portrayal and their raw emotions. It was amazing for me to watch that performance. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Aaron today, because of all the different things that he had to overcome, all his struggles, his frustrations, him wanting to get back to his daughter, him bringing light to the fact that Gabriel wants to get back to his daughter, but they keep going. They keep supporting each other and working together and proving that, that there is good and we can change. And so I think Aaron really helped with the backbone of that. And he still tries. And he even brought up how he used to recruit for Alexandrians and how life is, ever changing. So I appreciate Aaron and his determination, even when it's difficult, because it's not easy for everybody to keep doing. So thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, I love that pick. That's an awesome pick.
Thank you. How about you? Who would your award go to? What was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
Well, I too love all three actors in this episode. I could pick any of them and it would be right or fine or perfect. And I too want to give Aaron a shout out because he almost pulled that trigger. And to think I have a daughter at home, but I'm going to do this because this is my character. That's like crazy. And just, I love the actors in this. I can't even, it's hard to just choose one. But I think because I was blown away by Father Gabriel, and so I would give my award to him. I thought his decision when he did it, it didn't almost feel right. I felt a little bit, I don't know if I want to say betrayed or if I should say I didn't know if I could believe him. But when we saw the ending and we knew that what Father Gabriel had done was really the right decision, I was glad that it ended that way to make me feel that way, because I didn't want to not like Father Gabriel again, like I have in the past. So I just think that is saying so much about the character and the writers, and also about Seth Gilliam, the actor. He just has grown so much in this whole series, and I give my award to him, Father Gabriel.
Perfect. Well, great. I'm glad that you went with Father Gabriel, because he totally deserves it too.
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
But I would like to know what you are currently watching.
Okay, well, so I wanted to bring this up as a recommendation the last episode, but I couldn't remember for the life of me what it was called. So I finally finished it. I worked so hard at finishing this series, and I think I was able to get it done in I want to say there's like maybe 10 episodes, and this could be found on HBO Max, and it's called I May Destroy You. So I May Destroy You is written by Michaela Cole, starring Michaela Cole, and this takes place in London. So it's a British American drama TV series on HBO Max. And Arabella, she is like social media queen. She is a writer, and she wrote a book regarding millennials. And she became an icon. I mean, everybody loved her. Everybody knew who she was, wanted to take selfies with her. But she has a very rock star lifestyle. So she's, social. There's like the party scene. And so she's having a hard time writing her second novel. Well, when she goes out one evening in London, the next morning she wakes up, she's got like a bump on her head. She's all disoriented. She looks awful, and she feels awful too. So she's just like not sure what happened. And as her memory comes back, she remembers possibly witnessing an assault. When the detective asks her who was the assaultee looking at, she realizes that they were looking at her. So in her memory, she sees herself being attacked, but she can't put all the pieces together. So this whole series was about her putting all of this together, and also focusing on her busy social life and trying to finish this book. And her mind is incredible. She's beautiful. She's incredible. She's really hard to keep up with. So she's got friends that support her. This series has some raw images of assault. So you have to kind of be aware of that going in. And if you're comfortable seeing that, I appreciate that the person that recommended this, her name is Sarah, she gave me a heads up about what you're going to see. And so I knew what to expect, and I was prepared for that. And I think it's important that this became a visual work of art.
Awesome.
And even as just writing this is an amazing piece, amazing talent here. So it's modern. It's what we are going through in the world, and how we see people opening up and talking about. And so it's really wonderful to see this Michaela Cole as a writer, as a creative person. Her work is incredible. I am not sure if this was nominated for any awards, but I really do believe in this, and I think that it's worth watching for all sorts of people. So please check it out. It is called I May Destroy You on HBO Max.
I think it has critical acclaim. I believe people or critics and people are really liking this.
It's amazing. I mean, I would totally watch it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. What are you watching, my dear?
Okay. I have 3 very different recommendations, which I think is great because people can pick and choose or watch all 3 like I did. The first one is Generation on HBO Max. It's a dramedy about Gen Z in Orange County who explore their sexuality in a modern world. I think you'll like this, Brooke. I really do. It reminded me a little bit, or it's compared a little bit to Euphoria, but it has some comedy inserted into it, which makes it lighter. And but it deals with real issues. And so I kept thinking, oh my gosh, if teens are going through this is like crazy. I think having social media and phones and all of that just make everything so much more amplified, and which makes it so much harder for young people. And also getting their information from the internet also makes it hard. So it kind of like is a little bit heartbreaking to see it, certain things this way. But I really like the characters. And what's interesting is it starts out, and I'm not giving too much away by just telling you this, but it starts out each episode with a young teenager and her friends at a mall, and one girl is in the restroom, and at first you think she's just having stomach problems or something, but you find out in the first episode that she's giving birth. And so and her friends are there to help her. But what's funny is that they just give you at the very beginning of I think there's 6 episodes right now. Of each episode, they give a scene of how that's going, and then they'll say 6 weeks prior. And then the episode 2 will show you a little bit more, and then it'll say 4 weeks prior. And so it kind of keeps inching up to where it becomes real time. So it's just very interesting. So I think you should check this out if you are curious about Gen Z and the OC. So that's Generation on HBO Max.
Cool.
And Mayans MC season 3 is back on. I was so looking forward to this because I really liked seasons 1 and 2. So this is a crime drama series that follows the Mayans Motorcycle Club that exists in the Sons of Anarchy universe. And so we follow Easy Reyes, who is a gifted son of a proud Mexican family whose American dream is cut short by cartel violence. And he becomes engulfed in a life he wasn't expecting, and he can't escape. It's really good. And if you are a Sons of Anarchy fan, you will enjoy this too. There is just so much crime. You have to keep up on who's with who. It's very smartly written. Like you have to really watch and absorb who people are and how they're interconnected and what they're trying to do. So I really am enjoying that. And I think, I believe it's on FX. And if you can't catch it on FX, I believe it plays on Hulu the next day. So the movie I would like to recommend is called Boss Level, which is on Hulu. And this is a 2021 action sci-fi. It's a retired Special Forces agent who relives his death over and over again, reliving the same day, just like Groundhog Day. So through each death or day, he learns a little more about how his death came to be and who is behind it. And it's really an exciting action-packed movie. And I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I recommend it.
That sounds cool. I'll let Gabe know. He loves action movies.
Yeah, he'd probably love it. So
Cool.
Yeah, so those are my recommendations. Brooke, thank you so much for yours.
Thank you for yours.
You're welcome. Well, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website and follow Screens in Focus, and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. If you could rate and review our podcast on Apple or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, we'd really appreciate it. This will help other listeners find us.
Yes, thank you so much. We will be uploading a new episode in a couple of weeks. Our next show will be on The Walking Dead Season 10, episodes 21 and 22. So you can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time.
Bye.